Hello, my friends. Coffee with Carl. This is number 52. Last time I said it was number 52, and I don't know, I just got ahead of myself. So sorry about screwing up the numbering. But anyway, episode 52. I'm so glad that you're here with me. So we are smack dab in the middle of November. And how y'all doing? I hope you're doing well out there. So I'm in New England, and we've had what they refer to as an Indian summer, which is the warm weather that seems to just continue out throughout October and November. I mean, it's been really mild, 60s. Recently it dropped down to like the high 40s and stuff. But at this point, I mean, there are many times where I remember growing up, we would have snow on the ground during Thanksgiving. And it just seems like snow gets later and later and later. If it's climate change, things beyond my knowledge, which is a whole hell of a lot, I'm not really sure. But I will say I'm actually kind of enjoying it. It allows me to do a lot more outside. So last week, the 2 trees that I dropped, matter of fact, the one that I showed you when I tripped over that ladder, I dropped a couple more. And then kind of the way you do it, or the way I would do it, especially like growing up and stuff, that's what we relied on for heat. You cut them down. When they're on the ground, you take off all the little limbs and stuff like that, so they basically have the big sections, and then you cut those into log lengths. So you figure out whatever will fit in your stove or whatever, and a lot of times I'll use the bar of the chainsaw to sort of get a rough measurement of how long I can go. It's not an exact science, but it gets you close. And so then you just cut those up into log lengths, take those and either use a splitter or a hand maul or something like that and cut them up into firewood. And, you know, we had our first couple of fires this year, yesterday and the day before, and the kids just love it. It's funny how there's this primal thing, right? I think that just humans like to be near a fire. Like it's warm. I remember they call it caveman TV, just watching the flames. You could just get engrossed by it. It's amazing. It's really cool. So it's fun to see my kids and how they gravitate towards the same thing. It's pretty cool. So anyway, we're heading into winter. And I got to tell you, I'm not going to complain that the winter's a little bit shorter now. Like I said, I'm used to it being cold by now, but it's been really warm. And is that dangerous? I really don't know. I'm not somebody who pretends to be an expert on things that I don't know. I would imagine that cycles like this happen throughout history, and we are here for such a short window that we really don't know much about it. Now, I know they can go back and through, archaeology and through geology, they can actually see different patterns and things that have happened. But I don't keep up with that stuff. I'm an electrician, so, I don't really know. But all I can say is that at this moment, I'm not so upset that the winters are shorter. What am I going to say? So anyway, there have been a couple of things that have come out this week. And one of the most important things that I'm going to show you is actually this right here. The final version of my collaboration with Thursday is done. This is the final version. This is what you will be receiving if you order a pair of these. And I'm going to show the patrons at the end of this video. Look, I'm sorry if that was a little bit of a tease. It was totally intentional. But, these people who pay for the Patreon and are a member over there, they get everything first. And so that's kind of the way that works. A couple of other things that have come out. Vermont Glove came out with some of their merino wool lined mitts and gloves. So this is pretty appropriate just because last week, like I said, I was dropping trees and cutting them up and stuff like that. My Vermont gloves, I have the Vermonter, which is my favorite glove. They're just actually, so the way I even came to know the brand was a few years ago. I was working with a lineman, and of course, I'm always interested in people's gear and stuff like that. So I was like, "Hey, what gloves you got there?" And he goes, "Oh, these are my buddy up in Vermont makes these. Check them out." So I was like, "Oh, these are really nice. Where can I get them?" And he goes, "Oh, they have it online. They have a website, and but it's really, really, really old. So you can order one on there, but it's pretty rickety." So I did, and I got them in, and they have been. I got to tell you, I hate to say this because I really like Sullivan glove too, but in my opinion, these are better than the Sullivans. Just the way they're built. The Vermonter is just a spectacular glove, really is. So the unlined version is the one that I've been using for years now. And then they came out with these, and I got the mitts because number one, mittens are actually a lot warmer because they keep your fingers together and they share heat. But when they're segmented, each finger is basically responsible for creating its own heat. When they're together, it's a lot warmer. And they are lined with a very, thin layer of merino wool. So that's really nice, especially if, you're snow blowing, you're working outside, something where you don't need all the tactile kind of stuff or with your fingers. I like this just because it works really well to, you kind of have that lobster claw and you could do most things. So like I said, snow removal. All right, first thing I want to talk about, Filson came out with their full grain leather jack shirt. This has a couple, the reason I wanted to talk about it is because it's sort of a loaded thing, all right? We have to look at it as what it is, and that's a jack shirt. I don't like jack shirts. I've talked about this before. Either make it a jacket or make it a shirt, because what you do when you make a compromise like this is it doesn't really do anything all that well. You usually will miss out on hand warmer pockets, so that's a big downside. The hem is a little bit longer because it's supposed to be like a shirt. However, the purpose of a longer hem is that you're going to tuck it in. Nobody is going to tuck in a full grain leather shirt. That's just not going to happen. So you can use the styling of a shirt, but still have it be a jacket. Pointed collar, the chest pockets, the placket, stuff like that. It's totally fine. Just make it a jacket. Make it a lightweight jacket. Jack shirts, I have a few, and I will wear them basically as jackets. As a matter of fact, the one that I got with the Patagonia with their fleece lining is really nice, and I've been wearing that one, but I've been wearing it as a jacket, as a lightweight jacket. Just call it what it is. So there's that side of it, right? And that's just my issue with this design overall as a product. Of course, it's Filson, so that means it's going to be overpriced. And this is $975. So about $1,000, the amount that you would pay for a custom Greg Field leather jacket, basically. I think his prices may be a little higher than that, but let's just say if you're thinking about $1,000 jack shirt, well, a $1,200 jacket really isn't that much more of a stretch, and you get a hell of a lot better quality and everything like that. Now, I will say I like the way this looks, and I've gotten a couple of messages this week from people who say, hey, how can I get something that looks similar but maybe doesn't cost as much? And as far as that goes, there are a couple of options out there. I know that Mr. Freedom makes a couple of shirts that are, leather shirts and stuff like that. I do remember a long time ago, this is going to kind of maybe date me a little bit, but I was always a big fan of Monster Garage, and I remember Jesse James had a shirt from Bill Wall leather, and it looked like the most uncomfortable thing in the world. It was a short sleeve shirt, but it was clearly not meant to be a shirt. And if I can find a picture of that thing, I'll put it up here so you can see it. And whatever. So anyway, I guess all that to say that leather makes for a better jacket material, unless it's really, really thin. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the specifications so we can get a little bit better idea of what we're talking about here. It doesn't say a whole lot about the leather under materials. It's full grain leather. Yes, we know that. 100% cotton twill. Okay. It's imported. Shocker, from Filson. Has a thick, supple leather. Okay. Can you tell me what it is, please, Filson? Chest pockets with snap closure front, snap adjustable cuffs. So it says a rare full grain leather variation of our iconic classic, the wool jack shirt. The special edition adds a whole nother. Okay, yeah. The thick Italian aniline leather is treated with oils and waxes during the tanning process. Yeah, most leather is, to give it a supple, soft hand feel that will patina with time over its use. Yeah. I want to know what this is. Besides just saying full grain leather, I don't know what is that. Anyway, look, you're probably not going to buy it because it's kind of crazy. I think it could look good. If you have that kind of scratch to just blow on something like this, then good on you. But that's just like most Filson stuff. It looks pretty cool. It's way too expensive, and you can get better quality elsewhere. Whites is a company that I do talk about sometimes. I think the last time I spoke about them was when they did that collaboration with Harley Davidson. And again, being a Harley Davidson rider, I was somewhat excited, but it was this very old man style of Harley boot, which is like a big chunky pull-on engineer. And it's not my style. That's okay. It could be yours, I mean, I never want to just not talk about something because it's simply not my style, because my style is one of many and yours varies. So, I mean, it's up to you to choose what's better for you. You're a big boy, right? Or a big girl. Well, anyway, White's has come out with their Westbale boot. And as a matter of fact, what's interesting is that this isn't even out yet. Okay, so I'm reading all the pre-stuff that they've sent in the emails. But you, since you're actually watching or listening to this on November 20th, this is out now. It gets released on November 20th. So I kind of have to go on what I have with this limited information. But basically, it's a pull-on Wellington-style boot. And I have to tell you, I'm really, actually, I think they did a good job with this. It looks really nice, and I like the fact that it appears that it's available in a couple of different soles. They do show it here with a heel with like a very small woodsman heel, which is probably the one that I would want. And then they also show it with a wedge sole, which, again, some people like wedges. I get it. I mean, especially if you're going to go for an easy wearing boot, maybe a wedge sole is more for you. But it's basically a pull-on boot. Let's see if they have any interesting. So it's built on the 1970 Arch Ease Last, has 10-inch full grain water resistant leather upper, smooth/rough out leather combination. So it looks like they are all a combination. Is that the case? Yeah, I think so. So they have sort of a more of a reddish brown, a black, and then a sort of medium brown, which is great. I mean, well done, because that serves everybody. That's perfect. They have pull loops on the side, which is what you want with a Wellington. They use either the Vibram 4014 Christie wedge or, like I said, a half sole kind of thing. There is a leather half slip and shank. So that basically means that these are built similarly to the JKOT, which means they're going to be a lot more flexible than your typical heavy-duty PNW boot. Stitch down construction still, but nice work, Whites. This looks very promising, and I think that they've done enough research and they've offered enough variation here that these are pretty much going to fit anybody. Where Wellingtons are especially nice is keeping these as, they used to call them station boots or something like that. Basically, they're there when you have to put them on and run out in a hurry. For a lot of us, though, we just want something that's kind of easy to throw on and just go about our day. I've been using the Duck Feet Aarhus for that, and that's been great. But in a case like this is even better quality and a lot more of a work type of thing. So you could wear these things all day and have the support and structure that you need. I think they did a great job. So well done, Whites. Can't wait to see what the price point is on these, because if they're worth it, I'll certainly get a pair. Devium, one of my favorite recent brands, has reimagined their Boca flannel in a new colorway. This new colorway is called Tahoe Blue. Now, it's a limited edition, but it's kind of like, it's nothing that you haven't seen before. It's a nice combination of black, blue, and white, but it's a very nice looking flannel. And I like the Boca flannel. I like the way it fits. I like the construction of it. I like Devium as a brand. I think that's a good value for flannels. So this is nothing new. I did a review of their Boca flannel in my gift guide last year. So if you want to see more detail, you can go and check that out. But more or less, everything that I said about that applies here. And this is just a cool new colorway that looks awesome. Russell Moccasin has come out with one monster boot, and it's called the Roosevelt boot. This thing is enormous. I don't mean it's like enormous, width wise. I mean, it's the tallest boot I think I've ever seen them make. It's huge. It's also $1,300. Although I will say that you get what you pay for with Russell Moccasin. I love mine. I wear them all the time, and it's hard to argue with that. So let's get a little bit of the history, because everything that Russell Moccasin does seems to pull from their history, which is very cool, and there's a lot of depth there. So got to have respect for that. It says, introduced in the 1900s, Roosevelt boot was originally known as the Chief. At the time, it was Russell's most popular boot, and it was worn by Charles Lindbergh, Saxton Pope, and Art Young, among others. The high top was designed for protection against brush and briars while hiking, fishing, and hunting. This special edition boot will benefit the Theodore Roosevelt Conservation Partnership in its unyielding efforts to protect our natural resources and wildlife. So that's really cool. Love the fact that they did that. Handcrafted one at a time from American bison, also known as buffalo, the Roosevelt boot is as functional as it is beautiful. So yeah, this is a monster. I mean, it's really cool, and I love that bison. They've been using that for a while. It's just a great look. And it's a 15-inch tall boot. Now, if you've ever had 10-inch tall work boots or even 12s, this bests that. So it's like, wow. Oak leather heel counter, of course, all that stuff that they use in there. So, I mean, it's a great, I will tell you that They are expensive, but I never felt that I overpaid for my Russell moccasins. They're great, and I can see why they're such a well-respected brand, that you see them so much, because they are spectacular. There's a lot of handwork that goes into them. I think I have one of those. So I kept the toe off the one that I cut apart, just to sort of show the way that it's made, because this is a true moccasin construction, which means that your foot is basically wrapped in leather. And just looking inside at the stitch work that's done within and on the outside, you could just tell the work that goes into this is amazing. And this is sort of it sets the high water mark, as far as I'm concerned, for moccasin toe boots. I know there are other companies out there, and I'm sure there are other great companies out there, but this one was the first one that kind of opened my eyes to how good they are, and I will recommend them. You have heard me talk about my D-Hen or Day-Hen. I got to get that right, because I talk about this brand a lot. 1920. Sweater, jacket, shawl, vest, whatever. Sweater, jacket, sweater, coat 2.0. Is that what it is? I think that's what it is. I love it. I wear it all the time. It's a wonderful layering piece, very, very high quality, and warm. Looks really good. I mean, you could wear it to almost any dressed up function, you know, except for like maybe a wedding or something like that. But I wear mine to Christmas. I wear it everywhere, and love it, love it, love it. Well, something that they do well is their varsity jackets. I don't particularly like the varsity jacket look, but I can respect it. However, they have partnered with Division Road to make a special edition here that looks really, really good. This is the varsity jacket, Fox Brothers amber brown window pane tweed and antique brandy leather jacket. And, you know, again, even though I don't like varsity jackets, I think I could get on board with this one. It has a very beautiful look to it. I think they did a wonderful job pairing up these two materials. And even just like, you know, textiles and leather, sometimes that doesn't work out, but they nailed it. They did a great job with everything. Everything from the color of the rib knit cuffs, hem, collar. Of course, they have that campus collar there. To the pattern and the window pane and the leather. Just they did a beautiful job. This is a very impressive piece. And I was like, yeah, well, nicely done. And the cool thing is that Division Road, you know, they do a lot of cool stuff like this and a lot of gotta have it type of things. So I always get nervous when I see their new collaborations, because I'm like, oh, what do you got there? You know, I'm interested. I haven't seen it yet. So a couple of the specifications here. Of course, these are exclusive to Division Road, limited edition of 20. These are standard fit, 18-ounce Fox Brothers Somerset tweed. So that's some pretty heavy-duty tweed. 100% fine merino worsted wool. Vegetable tanned and waxed cowhide leather sleeves and pocket welts, quilted satin lining, rolled collar, worsted virgin wool rib knit collar, hem and cuffs, antique brass snap front placket, welted lower hand pockets, interior chest pocket, interior leather locker loop, made in the USA. Looks really, really good. And talk about a one-of-a-kind piece. I think this might be one of those things that people are really going to be wishing that they had gotten, because it looks so good. And just looking at it now, I'm tempted. I am really tempted. Even though I don't like this type of jacket, I might be able to get on board with this. A new company that I haven't spoken about before, although I've been aware of them, is Western Welder. And if you know me, you know that I'm always kind of keeping an eye on workwear, because there's the stuff that we like to wear, and then there's the stuff that we have to wear. And workwear tends to be, at least for me and for a lot of other people, stuff that we need for our job. And that's a little bit different. Now, I know the crossover has been made. I know that people are paying insane amounts for distressed Carhartt these days, and that's fine. Look, I'm not here to like rain on anybody's parade. If that's what you want to do and you like that look, cool, rock on. That's awesome. I have no problem with it. But anyway, Western Welder is purely a workwear brand. And, you know, a lot of their stuff, they made these shirts. That's their thing. They make these welding shirts that are triple stitch basically everywhere, even in places that it doesn't really need to be, like the shoulder plackets, or not shoulder plackets, the shoulder, you know what I'm saying, like the Western kind of cut, right? Whatever the hell that's called. Anyway, and they do so contrast stitching. So it's kind of a look, you know, but I respect what they're trying to do. Well, they came out with some jeans. These are called the Quick Draw jeans. And I got to tell you, they look pretty good for this price. They're $69, 12-ounce heavy-duty crude denim. Now, this is not FR denim, just so you know. They have a cowboy cut fit, so I assume that what they're trying to get at there is they're a slightly higher waisted and probably, so yeah, it looks like the upper yoke is pretty high, which can work well, depends. I mean, you know, make sure you get your fit right on these, but it looks like they are maybe a little bit of a taper, not exactly straight cut, but certainly not slim either. They actually look pretty good, I will say. 11-inch electrode pocket will carry up to 5 pounds of welding rod. So they actually have a pocket that's meant for that. And again, Western Welder, that's what they do, you know? Now, you could use this pocket for basically anything, and it looks like they've brought over their contrast stitching here as well. It looks like the corners are riveted with some honkin' rivets. Make sure you don't lean against your car with these things. They looks like they've really overbuilt these, and it's hard to tell from a distance and from these pictures, but they look pretty cool. They might be great workwear that is worth getting on board with. I'd like to see them in person because, you know, it's hard to tell from these pictures. They might be made very sloppily, but from what I can tell, they look like they're pretty damn heavy duty, and I'd like to know more about them. So anyway, those are new, and I think they might really scratch the itch for a lot of people who are looking for that next level kind of, or the next version of heavy duty American made workwear. These look pretty cool. Anyway, thank you for watching. We're going to get to the patrons only section now, and I'll talk to you soon.